So you're playing Genshin, you're doing some 10 pulls, and while you don't get a 5-star, you do get 4-star Wandering Evenstar, whatever we're going to call it. We're just going to call it Wandering, okay? That's a little bit easier. Not Wandering, yeah, Wandering. Okay, cool. So in this video, we're going to look at this weapon, what it does, and who it can be good for. So first, let's look at its main stat. It does get up EM, which is going to be good for a lot of characters. Its passive, this is at R2, Wildling Nightstar. The following effect will trigger every 10 seconds. The equipping character will gain 30% of their EM as attack for 12 seconds, with your other party members getting 30% of your 30%. So that'll be 1/9 of the EM as an attack buff. Multiple instances of this weapon can stack, so you can have multiple characters that have this weapon or similar effect weapons, and then it will trigger even if the character's not in the field. So who can use this weapon? Well, Yaimiko, right? We're going to throw this on Yaimiko. We're going to give her some artifacts. Ignore that. This is not my Yaimiko. This is Doggy, my editors. Thank you, Doggy, for sending me some footage of this weapon because I don't have this weapon. Now, again, I want to remind you guys, I do cut out some of the stuff in the TikTok videos. So if you want to see the full video, go check it out here. If you're already here, thank you. Welcome. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Go to TikTok, follow me there. Yeah, cool, plug myself. Awesome. I haven't done that in the year that I've been making content. I never really plugged myself, so time to do it. Now, we are going to throw Yaimiko into an aggravate spread team, and we are going to let her do a lot of damage. This is one of Yaimiko's better reactions that she likes to do. So this is going to be a good weapon for her because it uses EM. Now, her getting the attack bonus is going to be nice. It's not going to be like super good, but it's going to be nice. And if you were to use her with like another character that wants attack, right? Like Xingqiu, if you were going to be using like for a hyper bloom, then this can be really good. The passive is interesting because it gives attack as a passive to your entire party, but in an aggravate spread team, you really want EM. So it's like Alhaitham, right? You would think that this would buff up Alhaitham, which it can. Alhaitham wouldn't hate the attack, but if it gave EM to your other characters, I think it would be much better. But that's kind of beside the point. That's a what if, right? And I don't talk about what ifs in my videos. So this weapon can still be really good. It's going to allow Yaimiko to do a lot of damage, especially in these aggravate teams, because we do want that EM main stat on her. And then having the attack on other characters won't be necessarily bad if you have other characters that want that attack in the party, like Fischl. Fischl could use that attack. If you were to partner together, Yaimiko and Fischl could use that attack there. I got one that would actually like the attack buff. Now, something that you're going to notice is that it does recalculate it every 10 seconds. So there will be a little bit of an overlap between your buffs, right? This could also work with, in this party, Jean, because Jean's healing is based off of attack. So having a ton of EM on Yaimiko can pass some of that along to Jean for attack, so that way her healing does more. Other characters that heal based on attack would be like Charlotte, which would not go in this team, Sayu, which potentially could. If you don't have Jean, then you could do something like Sayu, and then you would have like a VV Shredder, like the VV artifact set on these two animal characters. Chi-Chi also does it, but Chi-Chi, just like Charlotte, won't really go into this team. Now, another character that could use this would be like Lisa. Lisa does ascend with EM, so this is going to give her more EM, and this could pass a lot of attack on to somebody else. Now, this could be interesting because you would be buffing a ton of EM, so that way Lisa could pass off more attack to somebody else. Lisa's burst also drops defense of your enemy, so this could be a pretty decent one if you're using, if you're wanting to build EM on Lisa, just to pass it off as attack. Now, I don't think it would do as well as Thrilling Tales, especially like an R5 Thrilling Tales, but it's still an option, right? Some people may have sacrificed all their Thrilling Tales and refused to use 3 stars. I don't know. People play the game differently. Now, another option is to give it to like Kokomi for an on-field Hydra driver in like a Bountiful Core team. Now, yes, Sac Frags is going to be better because not only is it going to give her EM, but it's also going to reset the cooldown of her skill, and Coco's skill has a long cooldown. But if you don't have sack frags, if you don't have R5 sack frags, but you do have this weapon, this can be good to get up EM on Coco. Now, nobody in this particular team would want that attack buff because this entire team works off of HP on Nilou and EM on everybody else unless you're going to run a double healer, or unless you're going to build Coco or like Yao Yao for healing, or Kirara for shielding, then it's still HP and EM. So the attack is not going to help anybody. This would bunch be like a stack stick, or I guess a stack orb, a stack book, stack orb. This would be like a stack orb for Coco. Stack, I've been saying stack, stat orb for Coco, where nobody's going to want this attack buff really. Maybe Kirara, like if you have her C6, Kirara does a coordinated Dendro attack that's based off of her attack. So like it would get that up a little bit, but even then, like I'm getting like the nitpickiness just trying to find a way that this passive is useful in this team. Whereas 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be. Now, if you don't have Coco, then you can use it on Barbara. Same thing though, you would, sack frags would be better, but you're just wanting to get as much EM on your Hydro Driver as possible. So this could be an option for on-field Hydro Driver Barbara. Now, another character this can be good on is going to be Sucrose. This is, I feel like, one of the better options of a character because Sucrose shares her EM with other characters, right? So you're buffing your the EM and the rest of your team through Sucrose alone, but then this weapon is giving EM to Sucrose and allowing Sucrose to buff attack because you're already building EM on Sucrose. So I think this is actually a fairly good option for Sucrose if you don't have something like Nahida's signature or sack frags or Magic Guide. If you need more EM, Magic Guide would probably be better, but this is going to buff. This is going to give EM to Sucrose and buff attack of your other characters because you're already building EM on Sucrose and Sucrose shares her EM. So I feel like this is maybe what it's like supposed to do. I don't know. Like this is such an interesting weapon, especially for like a Catalyst user, right? To buff attack and EM. But I feel like Sucrose can really use this weapon probably better than a lot of the other characters that we've talked about. And it could especially be good in something like an aggravate spread team where we do want Yaimiko's EM to be up, we want her attack to be up a little bit. This is going to share EM to Yaimiko through Sucrose and share or through convert some of that over to attack to Yaimiko. So this is just a very interesting weapon to use, but I think Sucrose can make full use of it in a way. Now another character that we could put it on would be like Haizo. Haizo, this would be a hybrid between a swirl and straight up animo damage. So it would be another interesting one, right? Because we want some EM for the swirl reaction, but you want attack, crit rate, or crit damage for his straight up animo damage. So this would be a hybrid build. It would also increase some of his attack, but not a ton because you wouldn't really necessarily, unless you built him for purely swirl, which would be stacking as much EM on him as possible. It would have to be like a swirl Haizo that was also doing some animo damage with like C6 Farazan. You could find a spot to use it on Haizo. It could be a decent option. There would be better options, of course, but it could be a decent option on a character like Haizo. You would just have to make sure that you have enough element present, off-field elemental damage present, so that way Haizo could swirl damage and get the use out of the EM, and then like C6 Farazan to get the use out of the attack. Well, that is going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, you be sure to leave it down in the comments. Myself or somebody else will be sure to answer it. I'll see you in the next one.